What if I told you there is a way to learn German 5 times faster and it has nothing to do with studying more? I went from zero to fluent in German using the same strategy companies like Google and Spotify use to improve at high speed. This approach has completely changed my life, and in this video I'm showing you exactly how it works so you can copy it and adjust it to your own needs. So the hard truth about learning is your progress does not always correlate with the amount of time you have put into something. In fact, most people hit the stage where their progress simply freezes. Think about your typing speed. You have probably already spent over 10,000 hours typing on your computer in your lifetime. And yet, you are probably not an expert typist hitting 100 words per minute. Most of us are still stuck with our 2 or 4 fingers. Why? Because we have hit a so-called OK-Plateau, which is the enemy of your progress. Just because you are doing something doesn't mean that you are improving. German is the same. I have met people who have lived and worked in Germany for decades, and yet their German is still basic. They learned just enough to get by and then stopped pushing.
Schwer. Nichts verstehen. Du willst so Eier von mir oder was?
To beat this OK plateau, you need to start being agile. The agile philosophy is something that has absolutely changed my life. It is used by software giants like Google, Apple, and Spotify. I used it not only to learn languages, but also to pivot my career from humanities to IT and even to teach myself dancing in the last couple of years. In short, it can be described as build, test, fail, fix loops, where the goal is to fail as soon as possible. If there is a bug in the code, you want to find it today and not 5 months later. The same with learning German. You want to start using what you have learned and making mistakes as soon as possible to improve quicker. But in order to start doing that with language learning, we first need input. Because especially in the beginning of your learning journey, your progress is going to be a result of a massive input. Even if you don't speak a word of German now, sit down and watch all the episodes of Peppa Pig in German. Your brain is going to work as a pattern recognition machine. It will decode the melody of the language, track repetitions, and assume their meaning. This is exactly how babies learn to speak. So good news, you can learn passively like babies. Bad news, it will take you ages because unlike babies, your adult brain has hundreds of other things to worry about rather than just guessing the meaning of die Handschuhe. To speed things up, you need input that is comprehensible for you. So you have to be able to understand it to some extent, and you need to actively engage with it. But finding that massive level appropriate input can be a real challenge. That's why I use Lingopie, a platform very similar to Netflix, but with a special focus on learning languages through real TV shows and movies. Honestly, Lingopie is something I wish I had when I was starting to learn German years ago. When I'm watching a show on Lingopie and find a word that I don't know, I can instantly tap on the subtitle and see a translation and explanation for this word. Here, for example, I was watching a short film about relationships called Ausgeburt der Liebe. You can even practice your pronunciation directly on the platform as you are watching a show and learning new vocabulary.
Eifersüchtig.
Lingopie has many cool features like learning with music or with short stories. But my favorite one so far is creating your own vocabulary lists and taking quizzes on them. So using Lingopie is a great way to seamlessly turn passive content consumption into an active study session and get the most out of the content that you choose to work with. If you use the link in my description, you can get 50% off an annual plan, and of course you can test Lingopie for free for 7 days and cancel anytime. Now let's talk about what happens after you get your input. To be agile and take your German from A1 to C1 at a legal speed, you need to practice active recall. This means pulling the information out of your head instead of just passively reviewing it. So my next steps for you are: start using what you learn and fail as soon as possible. Now, we've all had those awkward moments where we mispronounced something or made a total mess of a sentence. I used to call my Mütze hat a Münze, coin. I was literally telling people I was wearing a coin on my head. But after making that mistake a couple of times and feeling that specific cringe of embarrassment, I never forgot it again. So the key here is to start speaking first and worry about speaking correctly later. Let me show you exactly how I implement it when learning German. I was watching this series on Lingopie and I came across this vocabulary that I haven't heard before. Das konnte ich nicht auf mir sitzen lassen and anpöbeln. Now I'm going to use the live chat with AI and create an active study session for myself. Deine Rolle ist hochqualifizierte Lehrkraft, die sich auf Active Recall und agilem Lernen spezialisiert. Ich habe diese zwei neue Wörter bzw. Sätze gefunden, anpöbeln, und das werde ich nicht auf mir sitzen lassen. Ich will, dass du mir im ersten Schritt erklärst, ganz genau, aber kurz, was sie bedeuten.
Also, das Verb anpöbeln bedeutet, dass man jemandem in einer aggressiven, beleidigenden oder provozierenden Art und Weise verbal begegnet, oft um Streit anzuzetteln. Der Ausdruck, das werde ich nicht auf mir sitzen lassen, heißt, dass man sich nicht einfach passiv zurücklehnt, sondern aktiv dagegen vorgehen wird.
Jetzt will ich, dass wir Active Recall und agiles Lernen anwenden und dass du mir Fragen stellst, wo du mich dazu bringst, dass ich diese zwei neue Vokabeln nutze. Bitte korrigiere außerdem alle grammatischen Fehler, die ich mache, damit ich mich sofort verbessern kann.
Stell dir vor, du bist in einer Gruppendiskussion und jemand unterbricht dich ständig. Wie würdest du klar sagen, dass du zu Wort kommen musst, ohne es einfach auf dir sitzen zu lassen?
Ich würde sagen, dass die Person mich gerade anpöbeln.
Genau. Da würde ich korrigieren. Es heißt, die Person pöbelt mich gerade an. Und dann könntest du sagen, ich lasse das nicht auf mir sitzen, ich muss jetzt zu Ende sprechen. So bleibt es klar und richtig.
Of course, using AI like this is not the same as interacting with real humans. But you cannot always chase a German-speaking stranger and make them listen to everything that you want to say to practice in German. So it is still a helpful way for you to simulate real-life situations. This method is great because you are immediately using what you have learned, but also because you are creating a rapid feedback loop for yourself, allowing yourself to fail, make mistakes, and to be corrected. This is the heart of the Agile philosophy. The faster you fail, the faster you fix. If you want to see what happens if you fail slow, look at the video game Cyberpunk 2077. That game was in development for almost 9 years with the massive hype. When it finally launched, it was so full of bugs that it was unplayable and got pulled away from the store. They failed slow and it was a disaster. Your German learning journey doesn't have to be so dramatic, because the way to fluency and mastery is not about hiding in the cave for 10 years and then impressing everyone with your amazing German. It's about creating space to practice and making thousands of mistakes, which are honestly just a part of the process. So, to sum up the strategy, here are the steps to follow. Expose yourself to massive, comprehensible input. Use what you learn as soon as possible. Fail fast and create rapid feedback loop for yourself. With some adjustments, this approach can probably be applied to many other things as well. Maybe you have already been using this subconsciously in other areas of your life. Let me know what you think about it. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.